What is good, creatives? Tunja again from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to achieve a movie poster that I tagged the sun. Now the focus here is to teach you guys how to use the Photoshop gradient map to create drama. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this tutorial, and if you need the exercise file, simply make use of the link in the description section of this video. So sit back, relax, and keep watching. We need to create a new document. So I'm going to click on file and I'm going to select new. So I'm going to change my unit here to pixels, and I'm going to be using the Instagram portrait frame size because I'm planning to put this on my Instagram page. All right. So I'm going to use 890 by 1113 and my resolution is going to be 72. Then I'm going to give this project a name. I'm going to call it the sun. All right. Now there are different portrait frame size that you can use. All right, now this is just one of the options. Okay, all right, so I'm going to click on the create button now, and the first thing I'm going to do is to create a new background. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here to create a new layer, and I'm going to give the layer a name. I'm just going to call this BG. All right, and I'm going to hit the enter key. Then I'll go to the foreground here. All right, to activate the color picker, I'm going to move my color wheel here to this side here, and I'm going to select the OK button. The color of my foreground here is what I'm planning to apply to the layer. So the shortcut is Alt Backspace. Then I'm going to go to the exercise file and drag the picture of my first character in here like that, and this should be somewhere here. So I'm going to select the pen tool because I like the position of the character now, and I'm going to just fill this blank space here by drawing a shape here. So if you don't know how to use the pen tool, I have a tutorial on how to use the pen tool on my YouTube channel. To start with by, drawing a shape here like that. Okay. So we need to fill this. So now when you select the pen tool, always make sure that your option here is set to shape. All right, because if your option here is not set to shape, you won't be able to achieve this. So I'm going to change this to black, and I'm going to change my stroke here to no stroke. All right, I'm going to select the brush tool. All right, and I'm going to add a layer mask to the shape that I just drew, and select the brush tool here. Make sure that you are on the soft round brush because we need to fit this shape here. All right, so I'm going to increase my brush size and make sure that my foreground here is set to black because we want to take this out from this side of the character here. So then I'm going to turn this off because I don't want the pen pressure active. Then I'm going to make sure that my transfer here is checked. So if you don't have a graphics tablet, guys, remember to turn your flow down to 11 and you're still going to be able to achieve the same move that I'm about to achieve now. All right, but if you have a graphics tablet, after checking your transfer here, make sure that your control here is set to pen pressure. All right, now make sure that you are on the thumbnail of the layer mask. All right, don't make sure you're not on the thumbnail of the shape but on the thumbnail of the layer mask before you apply the brush. Now let's apply the brush. Now I'm just going to gently fade this out like like that. Now, please avoid making this get to the cutoff part of the character, all right? So the idea of turning your flow down to 11 is for you to be able to control the strength of your brush. All right, so I'm just going to fade this like that, and this is excellent. All right, so let's start adding the other pictures of the characters here. So I'm going to drag this and drop here like that, and this also needs to be smaller, and I'm going to set it this way, and this should be here. Now there's a trick I want to teach you guys where achieving good movie poster is concerned. Now there's the part of controlling the eye movement with the size, all right, of your pictures when placing it on your movie poster project. Never make the pictures share similar size. You only do that when the information, that's the brief from the client, request for it. But if the brief never requests for that, please avoid making your picture share similar size. So it's another way of making your project look interesting. All right, then I'm going to add the next image. I'm going to just drag this and drop here, and I'm going to right click and flip this horizontal, and this should be this size here, and this will be somewhere here like that, and this should be behind this layer like that. Yeah, this is good. Then I'm going to add the other image in. Now this is going to be here, and we need to flip this because this is going to be on this side of the which is the last image in, and I'm going to scale this down, and this should be somewhere here like that. So what we're going to do now is to start adding our cloud brush. So if you check the exercise file, there's a link where you can download the cloud brush, but I'm only going to teach you guys how to import the brush into Photoshop. So now you need to be on the brush tool, all right, and go under this drop down arrow here and select this gear icon. Now under the gear icon, you see an option that says import brushes. So once you click on this option here, it takes you to where you have your brush saved on your PC, all right, and I have it here, all right, so this is it right here. So I'm going to select it and click the open option here, and then I'm going to have it as the part of the brush that I have here in Photoshop. So this is the this is the folder for the cloud brush here on my Photoshop application. All right, so I always prefer to select my brush from the brush settings here. Why? Because it gives me the opportunity to see the thumbnails of the brush. All right, now I'm going to select this brush here. All right, I'm going to create a new layer, but I need to be on this dude's layer here, and I'm going to create a new layer, and this should be behind the layer here. I need to double click on the name, and I'm going to call this cloud like that. Now, no, cloud should be 1L. All right, then I'm going to switch to white here. All right, very important. Remember to switch to white. So I use this icon here to switch the colors. All right, then I'm going to go back to the brush tool, and if you can't find this brush settings option, you can simply go to Windows here and activate it here. All right, so once you click on it here, it gives the Photoshop's going to pop it up on your screen. All right, then I'm going to reduce my brush size right now, and I'll go on the shape dynamic, and I'm going to crank my angle up to about 19. Now, the idea of doing this is so as to have random rotation of the brush. All right, so I'm going to just start adding the brush here like that. All right, I'm going to add it here like that. Then I'm going to create a new layer again, and this layer I'm going to call it cloud. I'm going to call it cloud again. All right, so the idea of adding the cloud to the project is to create a separation between the characters. All right, so I'll reduce the size again. Now you need to be changing the size of the cloud. All right, so I'm going to apply it here, this is a bit here like that, and let's see. So for this side here, I'm going to create a new layer again. I'm going to call this clouds. All right, and this should be behind the layer 2. I'm going to select the brush tool again and just gently apply the brush like that to the project. All right, beautiful. All right, so what I'm going to do now is to add a color lookup. Now this color lookup is going to be above the layer 5 here, and I'm going to select the clip icon here, and I'm going to go under the 3D LUT file here and select night from day. All right, now this is good. Then I'm going to go I'm going to make sure that my option here is set to multiply. All right, then I'm going to adjust the saturation of the blue on the color lookup by adding hue saturation, and I'm going to select the clip icon again, and then I'm going to just push the saturation down so as to take away the blue color on the color lookup. Now, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, we need to hit Ctrl I on our keyboard to reverse the mask. And I'm also going to do that here by hitting Ctrl I to reverse the mask on the color lookup. Now, make sure you're on the thumbnail of the layer mask on the color lookup. So I'm going to do that now. Now, boom. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is to go to the brush settings here and select the brush tool and make sure that I'm going to select brush tool here, and under my brush tip here, I'm going to make sure I'm on the soft round brush. All right. Then under the shape dynamic here, I'm going to push the angle back to 0. Then under my transfer here, I'm going to make sure that my pen pressure is active under the control. Now, if you don't have the graphics tablet, remember to turn your flow back to 11. All right. Now, but before you apply the cloud, please remember to push this back to 100. Very important. All right. So I'm going to increase my brush size now. All right. And I'm going to start from this side of the character by zooming out. And this should be here. Then I'm going to softly apply the brush to the character like that. And I'm going to do the same move again. I'm just going to apply it again till I'm satisfied with the results. All right, so this is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the layer mask from the color lookup and apply it to the hue saturation by holding on Alt, and I'm going to drag and drop this on the thumbnail of the layer mask of the hue saturation like that, and I'm going to say yes. All right, now this is good. Then the other thing I'm going to do again now is the color on the character on the background here is too heavy. All right, the highlight on his face is too, it's too strong for the project, because there's a part of controlling the high movement with the mid-tone highlight and shadow in graphic design. All right, so and that's what I'm trying to achieve here, because the highlight on this character's face here is more than the highlight on the face of the other characters. So we need to dial that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the picture of this character here, and I'm going to select levels. All right, and I'm going to select the clip icon here to clip this to just only the character. All right, then I'm going to push this down like that till I'm satisfied with the result. And I think this is perfect. All right, this is exactly what I am looking for. All right, so what I'm going to do is we need to also add curve to this lady here. Right? I'm going to select the curve adjustment here, and I'm going to select the clip icon here, because I only want this to affect the layer of the lady. And I'm just going to do the same move by just reducing the highlight a bit like that, and I think this is fine. So one other thing I think I need to do here before we put everything here in our group is to select this cloud here and select the brush tool, and I'm going to go to the brush tip and go under the cloud again, and this time I don't need to change the angle. All right, I'm just going to reduce the size. All right, and I'm just going to click here to apply the cloud to the character. All right, then for this here, I'm just going to gently apply the cloud again. Excuse me, the cloud needs to be behind the lady's layer, so I'm going to click here on the new layer and just call this cloud. Then I'm going to apply the cloud here like that. All right, I'm going to put all the layers in a group. So I'm going to select the very first layer, and I'm going to hold on shift and select the layer 5 here and hit Ctrl G to put the project in a group. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to add a curve to the project now, and I'm going to select the clip icon again because I only want this to affect the group folder here. Then I'm going to crank this up because I want to boost the highlight on the face of the characters. All right, then I'm going to hit Ctrl I on my keyboard to reverse the mask, and I'll go under the brush settings and select the soft round brush. Now my shape dynamic needs to go up because I only want the transfer active. All right, so please don't forget to turn your flow down to 11 whenever you see my transfer checked. All right, I hope somebody get that. Now I'm going to select the brush tool now and increase my brush size. All right, and I'm going to softly Now make sure, don't forget, remember to make your foreground here white, all right, because we need to be on the opposite color of your layer mask here. All right, so I'm going to just gently apply this here like that. All right, and I'm going to do the same move here. We'll make the same move here for the lips, for the jaw, like that, and I'm going to do the same move here again, and like that. Now for this dude here, we need to make the same move. Highlight here, 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 and you can also, boost the highlights here, like that. All right, now this is good. Now everything is making sense. All right, so I'm gonna, I need to add curve to this characters layer. So I'm gonna make sure I'm on the layer 5 here and select the curve adjustment, and I'm going to just, boost the shadow. All right, so I'm gonna boost the shadow by just pushing this down and just increase the highlight a bit like that. Now we need to reverse the mask again by hit Ctrl I to turn the layer mask to black. All right, then I'm gonna select the brush tool again and go to the brush tip. Then under my brush tip here, I'm going to make sure that I'm on the soft round brush, and don't forget to activate your transfer. Very important. All right, now we need to increase our brush size, and I'm just going to gently apply the brush here. Now don't forget your foreground needs to be on white. All right, because if you are not on white, you won't be able to do what I'm doing now. All right, so I'm just going to apply that here like that. Okay, so I'm still seeing the blue color on this side. Actually, it's not. We can always leave it, all right, because by the time I apply the gradient map now, we're not going to see those, blue color anymore. All right, so this is beautiful. So I'm going to start with the blue gradient map, and I'm going to be on the curve adjustment here, and I'll go under the gradient map here, and I'm going to click on the clip icon because I only want this to affect the, the group folder. Now I need to click here to activate the gradient editor, all right. And if I scroll down now, I already created the gradient map that we're going to be using on this project here. So I'm going to click on the blue gradient map here, and I need to show you guys the color code so you can repeat the same code that I applied to the gradient editor here. So I'm going to start with this gradient here by double clicking on it to activate the color picker. So the code for the color here is 14272B. I'll repeat again, 14272B. And I'm going to select the OK button. And we are going to double click on the next gradient here. And we have 266570. 266570. And I'm going to select the OK button and make sure that the location for this is 22. Very important. Remember to check the location. Now, I know some of you can only see two gradient editor here. So to add another gradient wheel, simply click on any blank space here and you're going to have it. So if I click here, now you see I have a new gradient slider here, but we don't need this, so I want to delete it. So I'm just going to click on this and drag it down, and that's up the gradient editor there. So I'm going to double click on this. All right. And let's see the color code for this. It's just F, 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 and F. All right. So I'm going to select the OK button, and the location for this is 100. Now I'm going to select the OK button like that. Then we need to add the next gradient map, and I'm going to click on the gradient map here again, and I'm going to click on the clip icon because I only want this to affect the group folder like I mentioned previously. And this time, guys, I'm going to go to the gradient editor, all right, by clicking on the gradient editor tab here, all right. Then we need to change this to this gradient that I already created, and I'm going to double click on the wheel here to check the color code. As you can see, I have 6 zeros. I'm sure. Yeah, this is 6 zeros here, and I'm going to select the OK button, and the location here for this screen is 0. All right, the location for this is 0. All right, so I'm going to double click on this slider here, and I have EF571B, EF571B, and I'm going to select the OK button. Now, remember to change the location for this to 50. Now, if I double click on this now, and I have the color code, which is FFA54D, A, 5, 4, and D. And I'm going to select the OK button. Then the location for this is 73. So the last slider here is FFDEBE. FFDEBE. And I'm going to select the OK button. And don't forget the location for this is 92. All right. Now I'm going to select the OK button like so. I'm sure you're enjoying this tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and also remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. So let's continue. Then what we're going to do now is to make sure that we are on the layer mask thumbnail of the last gradient map that we applied. We even need to give it a name. So we're going to call this orange. All right. It's always good to name your layers. All right. So we're going to call this blue. Beautiful. Now we need to be on the layer mask thumbnail, and now I'm going to hit Ctrl I to reverse the mask, and I'm going to select the brush tool. Then on the brush settings here, don't forget to set your brush tip to soft round brush and make sure transfer is checked. Now, for those of you that don't have a Graphix tablet, you already know what to do with your flow. All right. So let's start applying the color now to the project. Now I'm going to just gently apply that here like that. You know, I always like to start softly because, you know, this gives me the opportunity to fade the color well. All right. So I'm just going to gently apply that here also. I'm going to apply it here. It's still fine. So I'm just going to gently apply it here like that. All right. And I'm going to gently apply it here. Then for this side of my character here, I'm just going to apply it here like so. All right. So this is better, but I need to boost the highlight on the, you know, character's face more by going to the gradient, going to the curve here and just, you know, push this up like that. And I'll make sure that I'm on the layer mask of the, you know, the curve here, because I don't like the fact that the highlight is too strong on this character's face. So I'm going to switch to black. Then I'll reduce my brush size. All right. Then I'm going to gently take it out from the face of this subject here. All right. Then I'm going to make this a bit bigger. So I'll switch to white. All right. And I'm just going to gently apply it here. And I'm going to gently apply it here like we did before. All right. Now this is looking more like it. All right. Then the other thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, because this side here, I hate the fact that the blue is extending to this side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add hue saturation. I'm going to click on the clip icon here, and I'm going to dial the saturation down to about -71 now. And still on the layer mask of the hue saturation, I'm going to hit Ctrl I to reverse the mask. And I'm going to select the brush tool and increase my brush size and just make this side here, make the color of the blue here gray or black and white. All right. So I'm just going to gently apply it here like that. All right. Now, this is one of the ways that I create drama with movie posters. All right. So I'm going to go in here because the highlight on this subject here is still looking too strong for me. So I'm going to locate the layer of the subject by using the move tool here. And I'm going to right click and select this layer 1 here. All right. Then I'll go under the levels here. Then I'm going to just, you know, push this down like that. You can even use, you know, this to fix that. So the same thing to this layer here. I'm going to select curve here and click on the clip icon. Then I'm just going to move this down like that and just push this down here, you know, like like that. All right. So for the clouds, I'm going to gently push that down and do the same thing here. Push it down. Push this down like that. I don't want the orange gradient map to affect the eye of my subject here. So I'm going to select the brush tool. All right. And I'm going to reduce my brush size. Make sure that I'm on the thumbnail of the layer mask of the hue saturation and make sure that my foreground here is still set to white. All right. So I'm going to gently take this out from the eye of my subject here. And then take it out from the mouth, from the teeth, not from the mouth. Should be from the teeth like that. And for the orange, I'm going to extend it a bit. All right, just going to extend it here, that, and make the same move here like that. Then this needs to be much. So what we're going to do is to take this to camera. All right, so I'm going to stamp visible the project by holding Control, Shift, Alt, and E to stamp visible like that. So then we need to convert this to a smart object. So I'm going to right click and say convert to smart object. So the idea of always converting your layer to a smart object is just in case you're not okay with the settings from camera raw, you can always go back to your last setting and just tweak it. All right. So I'm going to call this raw. All right, like that. And I'll go to filter and select camera raw filter here. All right, so I'm going to start with the basic. All right, then I'm going to push my temperature up here like that. All right, then exposure. All right, I'm just going to push the exposure down a bit like so. Then contrast needs to go down like that. All right, because I want to have this faded part on the project like so. And for the highlight, I'm just going to push the highlight up because I want this side here to have more highlights. All right, so I'm going to just move that up like that. All right, then for the shadow, all right, so I'm going to increase the shadow also because I only want to have that faded part on the project. Then for the black here, I'm just going to move the black down like that. All right, the black is to to make the shadow, to adjust the shadow a bit. All right, then I'll go on the texture here. I'm going to increase that because I want more contrast on the pixels, so I'm just going to move that up like that. All right, then vibrance. All right, I'm going to increase the vibrance because I want the color pop. So I'm just going to push that up like that. All right, so I'm going to close this like that, and I'll go on the details. Then I'm going to increase the sharpening because I already want more details on the face of the characters. All right, so I'm going to just increase the sharpen like that, and I'm going to close this. And for the effects here, I'm going to increase the grain because I want noise on the project. All right, so I'm just going to increase the grain to 12, and I'm going to select the OK button, and boom, that's what we have. So the next thing we're going to do now is to start adding the text. All right, so I'm going to add the writer now. I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to change the size of this to 17. All right, then I need to take out because the writer is supposed to be he knows. All right, then I am going to pick the color from the project like that. So I'm going to select the OK button. Then I'm going to split the text into 2 lines. We'll move this here. We need to change this to the same font that we use for the title. So I'm going to change this to Gotham. All right. So it should be Gotham book. All right. Then I'll change this to bold. All right, like that. And you know what? Let's change this to bold also. All right. So this should be bold, and this should be black, like that. So what we're going to do is to add shadow behind the text so this text here can be visible. All right, so I'm going to select the brush tool and I'm going to switch to black, and I'm going to just gently apply that here like that. Yeah, and that's it. Wow, I'm glad you made it to the end of this tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and also remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. And if you're able to achieve this project or you were able to use the concept from this project to achieve any design project, kindly post it on your Instagram page and remember to tag me. My Instagram handle is at Ceasar Graphix. Thank you again for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.